Hello and welcome back to the first WRRAP Podcast of 2024 with me, Lee G. Joining me as always, we have a full crew tonight. Harley, Jamie and James. Good evening, gents.
Hello,
boys.
All very perky for the new year, boys. That's all. Nobody's too depressed yet, which is a good sign. Excellent, right? So we will kick off with the normal drink of the week, but I'm going to throw this on you now. When you throw in your best Christmas present, or either your best Christmas present or something stupid that happened over New Year's. Who wants to go first on that one with your drink of the week? James is looking puzzled now. James is going Christmas.
What happened at Christmas?
I knew something happened.
Yeah,
I've got a slight problem with presents because pretty much every present I got given was basically a backhanded. Here's another thing for the baby.
yeah.
That carries on for a couple of years, Harley. Right, well, I'll tell you what. Then while you boys are having to think about what you did, so my drink of the week, okay, is actually a late birthday present. So I've got a couple of leftover birthday presents from my middle son that I haven't got to yet. I've got a couple from my eldest son that I haven't started yet, and then I've got a couple from brother and sister-in-law, which only arrived the other day, which is brilliant when they're late on your birthday, and you go like, oh, fantastic! That's like another present, like a month later. So I've now got a selection of Harbour breweries from Tenby. So this is Best You Best. Anyway, it's from Harbour. And I've been meaning to try these ones out for a while because I kind of used to play with one of the guys that is involved with them. I think it did anyway. But it's quite nice. But my Christmas present is this, which came from my kids, which is it's a really, really nice solid glass, and it's inscribed with Dad's WRRAP Podcast glass. So that's my nice one from the kids, and it's actually really, really. I don't know how to explain. You know, when it's a heavy glass, yeah,
It's got a nice weight to it.
Yeah, it's got a balance to it. You're never like worried about knocking it over. It's a good quality glass. I'm surprised because usually it's like 4 pairs of pants that don't fit. So that's a really good step up from.
It looks really nice. Shame about the logo.
I quite like it. Fuck you. I don't give a shit.
It's ruined by the Scarlet's badge, isn't it? Lovely glass, ruined by that.
To be fair, it's the closest the Scarlets are going to get to having their name on a cup anyway. So,
oh, fuck it out. Right, here we go then. Right, who's next? Who wants to go next? Harley. Well, let's have your drink of the week, Harley.
So a bit of a boring one. So I've started a new job today, so I've basically had to rush up last night up to Barry. So it's one I've had before, but it's Atlantic Pale Ale from Sharps Brewery. Again, it's a very nice bitter.
And
nice.
What was your nice?
Good beer.
What was the best Christmas present then, mate? What did Santa bring you for being a good boy?
Got a bottle of Brecon gin, load of mint chocolate, which the baby has started trying to eat. I got a carrier for taking the baby hiking, holiday to Butlins for the baby to go see one of her favourite shows.
Which Butlins? Which Butlins?
Minehead Butlins. Go see Justin bloke from Justin's house.
Don't knock Justin. Justin's top class. He is, mate.
Justin Marshall.
Sure it is, but this is my Christmas present. I mean, if it was her Christmas present, yeah, great. Mine. I took it too literally when I said, "Oh yeah, I just as long as the baby's happy."
Well, Justin,
I did treat myself to some new jeans, which I've been dying for.
You should show it off now.
Yeah.
Justin used to do a thing with, there was a young girl used to do it with it. And she was very much the dad's interest, to keep the dad's interest while the kids and she was at this live thing where we were in the CIA, and Justin's walking off and doing all of this, and then I had my kids up on my shoulder and she was waving it, and then she waved and I'm like, yeah, she's waving at me, now
you wish.
Nearly you wish, child.
I do.
Jamie, I did get 20 minutes in the second row on Boxing Day. That was quite nice.
20 minutes in the second row.
And another 15 flanker.
Who were you playing?
So it's a weird like annual tradition Boxing Day game with the club. So it's the first 15, although some of the star players sort of just sack it off. So a load of the second team come out, and then it's called the President Select 15, which are the second 15 and the vets who are just about sober enough to play. And then you just you play a game of rugby, have a knees up.
They're the best games. We used to play ours on New Year's Day. Most of us used to just sleep in the function room, and then just crack on in the morning.
Yeah. So
Jamie,
there's a thing. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't cope with that anymore. What have you got, Jamie? What's your drink of the week, mate?
So I've recently joined a beer club, which is pretty good. So I'm going to have a lot of varied, different style beers now. So shout out to Wales Ales. I've joined. Thank you to Neil. He's a good bloke. He's delivering to the Newport area. He doesn't normally do it, but he's making an exception for me, and I do appreciate good old Neil. He is going to...
Is he sponsoring the pod?
I will get to that. Give it time. I've got to give it time to get to know him, and then I will possibly mention the fact. Yeah, I'll mention the fact that I do a pod, and then we'll get there. I'll work.
I had a couple of
I'll see what I can
before. I did give him a couple of shout outs before. I never bought it from them, but I've seen some of the stuff they've got, and it's really, really good stuff.
Yeah, great range. So I can't wait to try some new different beers. So this is one of the beers that's in the beer club, and this is right up my street. I love it already. It's a really nice taste. This is a fruitcake beer. I know you can't see because it's blurry, but that's what I got. It's a fruitcake beer. It's from Mold in North Wales, so it's a Welsh beer. Deliciously modern Welsh beer is what it's described as, and indulgent amber ale 4.5, Harvard Brewing Company in Mold. It's lovely. It's really, really good. So hopefully I'll be getting more fruity beers like this. So
I thought you were going to start with something like New Year, and we'll start with like a proper beer. And then you said, like, that those boys, I thought, they're good, they're credible stuff. They got a lot of like proper beers. And then you come on with
this is nice. No, this is a nice beer. This is a nice fruity beer. I was considering doing Dry January, mind. I was considering it, but that's gone out the window now. So I won't be doing Dry January, especially now I joined the beer club. Yeah. But I'm happy with that. It's a good beer.
Cool. And any special Christmas presents worthy of note?
Yes, I had what I've always wanted, a skull shaver, which I can tell you now is an absolute godsend for a head like mine. Because it means now that A, I don't have to go to the barbers and pay to get my head shaved, and B, I don't have to ask the missus to do it anymore with their clippers. It's a wonderful thing. You just go yourself, you do it all over the head, and it's wonderful.
Is it one of those handheld things, and you just kind of, it looks like you rub in your head, and there's all sorts of stuff inside it?
It takes 2 minutes, and it's all the hair off. It's absolutely brilliant. I should have got one years ago, but that's my Christmas present. Very happy with that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
James, what are you doing this evening, mate?
Just back on the comedy large beers of Budweiser. I'm on the last one now that I have got. They're not nice to get through in just one sitting, right? It's a good thing this podcast is fucking long, because otherwise I look like a sadder. No, good. It was good Christmas. I got home, spent actual Christmas up the in-laws in London, and then got home for New Year's. Best present I got. There's two actually. One of them I stole. I say stole. He gave it to me. My grandfather was kindly given a signed jersey by the squad for this year. My grandfather was like, "No, you have it. Put it in the flat. Get it framed." So I got a nice. The new jersey is currently hanging up in my wardrobe. And the second one, which I am now happy to announce, is I got baby stuff because I am having a baby.
Congratulations!
I am having a baby boy in the middle of April. Nice. So we've just been getting lots of baby stuff over the last couple of months, but at Christmas especially.
So next Christmas, so the little boy will be about 7 or 8 months old, something like that.
It'd be 6 months. Yes, 8 months old.
Yeah. So just big enough to pull down the Christmas tree when they're just starting to stand up, and all the sparkly lights and all of that. They look chewy. That's a cracking time.
Mine
Mate,
wasn't interested at all.
Is it just my kids that tried to eat the Christmas lights then, is it?
No, mine was just obsessed with this one Christmas card that she got. Well, it wasn't that she got this Christmas card. This was one for me and my wife. She got a completely different Christmas card. No interest in that. She still takes it to the cot with her. So it's it's about a third of the size now because she keeps nibbling bits off of it. But
nice.
It's her emotional support card.
But what about names, James? Have you got any names? Is it true you're going to call him Rhys Henry after your idol, or?
Well, I can't call him Rhys because my last name is Rhys.
Oh, of course, Rhys.
Are you not going to have Rhys Henry as a hyphen at the end?
Well, he's not responded to my DM about being Godfather yet, so. Rhys, please respond. No, we have got names, but we're not. The people very close, and I'll tell you guys off there. But not revealing.
I'm honoured, thank you, mate.
It's going to be an Ospreys player, though, isn't it? You can tell it's going to be an Ospreys player.
It's not. We've taken many things into account. I'm not allowed to call it Morgan.
Or Marty. Yeah, I got told. I tried to convince my wife to call it Shuan or Seaned. And then she realised they were Welsh women's players, and she went, "Oh, absolutely not."
No Justins. Can't. Yeah.
It's surprising that we've all tried to slip those in because my boys were very nearly called Yestin after Yestin Harris, who was played for Wales. That's just when he came back. So I wasn't allowed to call him Yestin, and my first one was going to be Jonathan, and then I let slip about Jonathan Davis, and then she's like, "Well, no, we're not naming him after rugby." And we were this close to it. So yeah, here, keep it to yourself. Don't tell them until it's actually signed and sealed, and then go with it. Right, okay, some good positive news to start the year, gents. Well done. So let's try and keep the positivity going with some news desk then, James. Good luck with that one, mate.
This is not the story to start with if we want positivity, so it's not the right place to start. But shall we talk about the story that's boiling a lot of people's piss on social media? The story that everyone's got an opinion about. Somebody wants someone to blame you, don't they? So let's start with the big one then. So according to a report in the Daily Mail, Emmanuel Ferguson has informed Wales head coach Warren Gatland that he will not be available for the Six Nations squad selection. And instead, he's going to attend an England camp in the coming days. Now, what it says in the report is the major stumbling block where Ferguson will play for Wales is that the WRU's 25 cap selection ruling, which means that if he was selected in Gatland's Six Nations squad, regardless of whether he would have played or not, it would mean he would have to rejoin a Welsh region when his current extra contract expires. And the report is saying that's something that the player does not want to do, as he would have to leave Exeter Uni a few years into a long-term medicine degree. And also it says, even if he isn't selected by Borthwick for this Six Nations, he could still be captured by England if he plays for the reformed A team against Portugal in February. So, it's a bit of a sting in the tail, this one, isn't it? We wasn't really expecting this. We was all expecting him to be available for Wales and to be selected. But it looks like, there's no guarantees, but it does look like that he could be turning out for the white of England instead of the red of Wales. And like I said, everyone's got an opinion on this. Everyone wants to play the blame game. Some people are blaming the WRU for this. Some people are blaming Cardiff Rugby. Some people are blaming Cardiff Uni. It's just insane that everyone's got their own opinion. So here's a question for you, and anyone who can answer this. Who's to blame for this situation occurring? And do we now have to look at the 25 cap law as a whole now? Is it fit for purpose given the financial constraints in Welsh rugby? And I open that up to any of you to start with.
There's an argument to be made that where we are financially, are we holding back players in that sense? But And I think Ed Jenks did a really nice thread on it earlier, asking that question, in an actual constructive way, not just angry typing 25 cap rule and acting Nigel Walker. But equally, this is such a unique situation because of why Faye Weboso is staying in England. It's not like he's staying in England because he wants to play for an English club, a la Louis Rees-Zammit, right? It's not because he wanted to stay at Gloucester to play for Gloucester. He wants to stay in Exeter to finish a medical degree, to be, an actual doctor. No offense, Harley.
Bloody hell!
All I'm saying is doctors in my
Tell him a dick.
it's not
My
a
God.
I'm joking. I'm only joking. No, he wants to be an actual medical doctor to go and do something after rugby. He is thinking long term, not I'm gonna retire from rugby, go around the after dinner circuit, and and things like that. It's such a unique situation that if it was if it was a Morgan Morse, for example, would we be making this much of a fuss? Is my thing. I think that there's a bit of an overreaction in terms of why he's doing it, because it's such a unique situation.
So yeah, I think it's, if he wants to go, then he'll go. It's not a major issue, in all honesty. Yeah, he's a good player, but there's decent enough players around, and all that'll happen is that if he came back to Wales, or even if he didn't come back to us, but he was still playing for Wales, then he'd push out somebody else who was playing in Wales, and then it'd be, well, why am I staying home? And it kind of creates this ongoing effect. The bit that I think is, he's made a big song and a dance over the last couple of weeks about being Welsh and how proud he is to be Welsh, and he's only Welsh, cut me in half, and there's a dragon in there, and all of this kind of stuff. And then he gets a call up from England, and he goes to England. So that to me is transactional. It's not deep inside you. If he is that person inside that wants to play for Wales and he feels Welsh and all of that kind of stuff, you can't go and put an English shirt on and feel the same way about that shirt as you would putting a Welsh shirt on. So when it comes to those times, and it's probably more relevant for forwards than it is backs, but when it comes to those times where you really need to dig deep and fight, it won't be in him. If he is that person that he's been saying, and I don't doubt for a second that he is, but if he is that person, then that fight won't be in him, because it's transactional. It's not inside. He's not the only person to do it. I'll put my hands up that when my boy was in Hartbury and he was asked a question, do you qualify for England? And he does, through his grandfather. And then he was like, well, yeah. And it was a really long conversation, would I want to play for England? He decided no. But it's a conversation that comes up. And when somebody says to you, do you want to play international rugby? I'm giving you the opportunity right now. You come with me right now and you can play international rugby, regardless of what side it's for. You give it some serious thought and you go, oh, I could play international rugby. Might not be for my home side, but they don't want me, so I might go play somewhere else. So, I don't think anyone's to blame. I think it's just the way it is.
Ali?
Not to be first. In answer to who's responsible for it, well, ultimately he is. He's selected this. I believe he's reported to be on a 5-year contract with Exeter, which is more than enough to do your basic medical degree. I don't know if he's doing it part-time, similar to Hallam Amos or whatever, but he might be waiting to re-sign a contract to give him that, the Tom Francis unlimited extensions clause. But it's madness blaming all these different entities. Ultimately, you had a lad who applied for medical school at Cardiff whilst he was part of Cardiff Academy, didn't get in, he got into Coventry. So he went and joined the Wasps Academy. Wasps folded. He was able then to transfer his degree to Exeter. And he said, right, that's it. I've done one move. I don't want to do another one. Fair enough. And now he's, basically he's got a longish term thing in Exeter. He's getting plenty of minutes. He's in a club that's, it might not be that it's probably not the Chiefs might not win Premiership this season, but they're going to be in amongst it this season because they're actually, and it's a really exciting young crop of players. And it's actually not too far from home. To be honest, even if he did end up, he could probably still easily commute to Exeter or have placements in Cardiff if he did want to move to a Welsh region. If he went to Dragons, Newport, if you're missing those horrible tunnels, it's quite easy to get in and out of Wales. But that set of circumstances has nothing to do with the university, who have their own selection criteria and they have to follow them. And yes, he may have got the academic stuff, but there might be someone who had the academic stuff and a bit more, plus has been a first aider for 12 years. It's, you don't know what, you can't really compare because admissions are done on sort of like a case-by-case basis, and say they've got 500 places, you might rank 501st. The fact that you're a rugby player is irrelevant. You're 501st, you don't get in. And that's how universities run, particularly with a med school like Cardiff, which is incredibly well respected. I know James likes to shit on Cardiff Uni, but our med school is really good.
And I have to say, when I was in Cardiff Uni, the med boys used to absolutely put it away like you wouldn't.
They had their rugby team banned about 3 times in my undergraduate.
We shit all over them.
They went too far.
Yeah, business school used to shit all over the medics because they were all pissed all the time. So they were either doing like really, really high pressure intelligence stuff or bollocks. There was no in between. That's the way it went back then.
Yeah, but anyway, and then WRU can't control that. Cardiff couldn't control that. They tried their best to try and work out a deal. So I think there was an option that Cardiff Med School basically said, we can't get you in this year, but we'll put you in next year. Because when you apply for med school, it's done like in the September of your A-level year, so you don't have grades so predicted. Whereas when you apply the year after, you have your grades, so it's easier to apply. So they said, well, if you do it next year because you've got good enough grades, we'll put you in. But obviously, Faywell-Bosa has pressure from his family situation, who think rugby's a silly hobby. You go do a proper degree. You need to become a doctor and do something proper with your life, which in the current climate actually is an incredibly sensible way to look at it. So you can't really blame any entity. It's just a weird thing that's happened.
Just the way it is.
The other thing that's
just
happened
one of those things.
is I do think Faywell-Bosa is suffering a little bit from shiny new thing syndrome. Whereas everyone's got, because you've already got the people who ogle the Gallagher Premiership and think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then he's the new up and coming thing that's like, oh wow, this is amazing. Like Will Evans, you had Will Evans he should have been broke. He was supposed to be, grabbed from Harlequins and brought into the Wales setup. I think Dan Evans, the Bristol Bears flanker as well, of Welsh qualified.
Dan Thomas.
That's
Thomas.
Apologies. But the point, you get my point. There's always a shiny new thing. And one thing no one's actually answered for me is when I said is right, for wingers, for the Six Nations squad, you're probably looking at Josh Adams, Rio Dyer, Mason Grady, maybe as a 13 wing, and Lushy Samet. Which one of those 4 are you going to drop?
That's what I was saying earlier. There's quality there in Wales anyway.
Yeah,
and there's quality coming through.
Yeah, that's it. And if you had someone like Cabango being fit, Keelan Giles is actually showing something that says he might be worth having a look at. I really like the way the younger Rosser brothers been playing as well for the Dragons.
Is that the non-bald one?
Is that the one who looks like he isn't going to nick your van after the game?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Charles Rosser looks like me now. He's got exactly the same head as me. And then you got Ewan Rosser, his younger brother, who's got hair and is much quicker, in fairness. But Ewan Rosser is the one
aerodynamic.
I don't know, but it does.
You'd have thought he'd have been more streamlined without hair, wouldn't you? Without the hair, it'd be no drag.
No, the problem is the skinhead is making him want to go and fight the nearest person. So that's what's slowing him down, is the drag from the dickhead energy.
Anyway, should we carry on with news desk, James?
Yes, let's carry on with news desk before we go into any more bloody rabbit holes and tangents.
Before somebody comes and threatens Harley when nicking his
Yes.
car.
So this is interesting now. So BBC today, and they've done this with a number of Cardiff players, but they've done it again today. So BBC have reported the Wales scrum half, Thomas Williams, has agreed to join English Premier side Gloucester from Cardiff. Nothing confirmed by that. I've just checked on social media. Nothing confirmed by Cardiff yet. Nothing confirmed by Gloucester as of yet. But they've reported that he signed from. 29-year-old will still be eligible to play for his country, having been capped 53 times. I mean, we knew he was on the move, but it's the big story today that BBC reported. When you look at the report, it does make me laugh. There's a paragraph here that made me smile. So it talks about like the reasons why he's leaving. It says, a new challenge. And listen to this. The current lack of opportunity to challenge for club silverware are understood to be the major factors behind the move. He is going to Gloucester, who is second from bottom of the table. Now, if he was going to Saracens, if he's going to Leicester, if he's going to Harlequins, you think fair enough, he has a chance of winning some silverware. He's going to Gloucester. And I don't see them being dramatically better next season than they are this season. And Lewis Rees-Zammit is also believed to be on the move. So a lot of people are saying it's a strange move. I don't hardly disagree, but I do think it's a good move for him. It's a chance for him to broaden his horizons and play the fresh competition. And, it's a new challenge. As I said, he served Cardiff really well. So we knew this was coming. But Harley, what's your thoughts on Thomas Williams?
I'm going to disagree with you saying I'll disagree with you because I actually agree it is it's a good move for him to get through. Ellis Bevan's been playing really well. We've got a couple of decent scrum halves coming through. So actually it's an area where we can afford to lose one of our big name players. And as brilliant as Thomas Williams is when he's very good, he is world class. When he's terrible, he makes Gareth Davis look good. And you've got to. The one thing I find with all these Cardiff players, one of the guys who seems to have the most players under his remit is Nicky Robinson, who is obviously former Cardiff, former Gloucester, and works for the BBC. So I'll let you fill in rumour and hearsay there. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not getting sued.
Good tinfoil hat you got for Christmas.
I've just got a feeling that might be why some ex-Cardiff player or people who've gone up through the Cardiff system have ended up going to Gloucester. It's it could just be the fact that some Welsh people don't like going that far from home, and you can commute to Gloucester.
Yeah. There's a shit number of agents in Wales, man, because you're either represented by Derwyn Jones or Nicky Robinson. No wonder all our players are fucking off.
But I know a couple of the boys who work under Derwyn. Some of the people who work under Derwyn Jones are actually really good.
Oh no, yeah, I've heard really good things about Derwyn.
Someone keeps getting Will Griff-John contracts.
Yeah, they've got to be honest. The thing with Cardiff and Gloucester is Hartpury, and that's where Cardiff. That's where the majority of Cardiff age grade players go because they don't want to keep fucking around with getting into the centre with Cavac all the time. So they go, well, I'll go and stay and live in Hartpury where everything is roll out of bed and it's there, and I don't have to fuck about with getting into the centre. And then actually facilities are substantially better. I know Cavac have upgraded recently, but it just makes life so much easier. But you can probably get from Hartpury to Cardiff on the train in the same time as you can from Newport to Cardiff in the car. So it makes life really, really easy for Cardiff and Dragons boys, to be honest.
But do Hartpury have a mud bath pitch to practice really shit weather rugby?
No. Hartpury have abandoned a pitch. It's their fifth pitch that they call the scrub pitch. Yeah, it's as you drive into Hartpury, it's the scrub pitch that is probably better. It's better than the Bridgend pitch that was used for the Ospreys game. It is, mate. And that is their fifth pitch that they don't even use for training because it's not up to standard.
To be fair, that's probably why it's better.
Well, no, they just use to mess it around on.
I have the Gloucester thing is weird because look at the reaction to Max Llewellyn leaving Welsh rugby last year. You know, great player for Cardiff. You know, supposedly the next big Wales 12. All this, all that, blah blah blah. He is starting behind. He sits on the bench behind Seb Atkinson, a man who I'm not even sure is a real person.
It's worse than that. He's third behind Mark Atkinson.
Exactly.
Mark Atkinson, Seb Atkinson. They occasionally pushed Llewellyn to 13 when Kevin Ladsay and Chris Harris aren't there.
It stinks of Rhys Carey going to Saracens the first time, and
Spent the whole time the Premiership Cup.
Ethan Lewis at Saracens as well. You know, supposedly these players who are good, really good Welsh players going over. All this talk of the big money, blah blah blah, and they're not getting the games. So even Joe Hawkins hasn't started all the next 2 games this season. He's been on the bench.
I think that's more rotation than anything, though.
That is more rotation. That's
because he's either on the bench or starting.
Yeah,
and he started all the big games.
But with Llewellyn, you just look at it like poor sod.
But you've got to balance that's part of the balance that you've got to make when you go. I'm going to go and play for Gloucester. Then you're in a squad of 45 or 50 instead of a squad of 25 or 30. So your game time is going to be reduced. Your development time is going to be reduced, and you know that when you go, and you've either got to be so self-confident that you're going to go right. I'm going to burst into that side and I'm going to do whatever, or I'm going to have to be willing to bide my time and wait my time. So these guys know that when they go, and if they don't, then they need to be told because they know that's the.
So I think there's some salary cap ramifications as well by having more English qualified players in your matchday 23.
There's a quota you have to. I think there is a quota you have to admit. Look, it's different for Thomas. I joke. He is only 29, but he is at a different stage of his career than Llewellyn. You know, he wants that payday. Good on him. I love Gloucester. It's my English club. I hope he has a fantastic time there. We'll see him in the Anglo-Welsh League in a few years, no doubt, folks.
Let's not go there.
let's stay with Gloucester then, Jane, and talk about Zammit, because that's do we genuinely believe he's off to Japan?
So Louis Rhys-Zammit has been linked to a mega money move to Japan with Honda Heat. Rhys-Zammit's Gloucester contract ends this summer, and he's set to depart English rugby with clubs in France also interested in his services. So we know he's not going to stay as of yet in English rugby. We know that he's not going to come to Wales because the money's not there and it wouldn't be good business because of the availability. I can see Louis Rhys-Zammit in France. I'm struggling to see him in Japan at this stage of his career. But the offer is there apparently. So I don't know what you guys think, but I'm struggling to believe that Louis Rhys-Zammit is going to take up this move to Japan right now. I mean, maybe in a few years' time, yes, but at this stage of his career, I'm struggling to see him moving to Japan. So I don't know what you guys think of that.
I've got 2 schools of thought to it, because it might be that he's had some word with the Welsh. So as I said, I'm going to go make an absolute killing in Japan, and then I might come back, DOS in Wales for a year, for the World Cup year, before the World Cup. So he's back and he's fresh and he's not really killed himself out. The other thing is, how on earth is he going to get back to his mum's for Sunday dinner every week if he's in Japan?
She'd have to ship it out on like a Thursday, wouldn't she? She'd have to send it by email on a Thursday just to get there for the Sunday lunch.
So if at least he's in France, he might still get it warm.
This stinks of Gavin Henson, doesn't it? This smells like Gavin Henson.
In what sense?
In the club hopping has begun. Because is it going to work out in France? Is it, we've had the documentary, we've got the celebrity girlfriend, he's at the movie premieres. All I'm saying is there's a pattern.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this, yeah.
I'm not saying he's been ill-advised. I'm just saying that, if Carl Ferns is out in France, we might be in trouble.
But Gavin Henson ended up with Charlotte Church, and I'd take that every day of the week. That would be a price worth paying for me. I'd go, yes, book me in for 2. Thank you very much.
Has Louis Rhys-Zammit bought a pub in St. Bride's Major? Do we know yet? Is this
Not yet, no.
okay?
No, not
right,
yet.
we're not at that stage yet.
No, I reckon for Lewis Sam it'll be Reboiner.
I
Stop
think it's
potatoes.
I think it's all just it's that time of the year when agents get busy, negotiations start happening. I think this is all an agent kind of thing to bump his worth up in France, and he'll end up in France on a mega contract that he gets injured after 2 weeks and has, 2.5 seasons out doing nothing. So
The Regan Grace contract.
yeah, one of them.
You can see him in a Racing '92 shirt, though, can't you?
I was thinking
This-
that. Yeah, you could see with that kind of.
This is like a Racing '92 building like a Toulon 2013 squad, isn't it? Farrell, Arundel, Zammit, Khaleesi.
Will Rowlands.
For some reason, Christian Wade, Will Rowlands,
Anyway,
Reece Henry.
what else have we got before we get completely ridiculous? What else have we got on the news desk?
Yes. Shall we have some positive news, especially if you're an Ospreys fan? So, Ospreys have appointed ex-Gloucester boss, Gloucester again, Lance Bradley as their new chief exec. Very interesting background. So he's in the automotive industry with Mitsubishi and others. He was at Gloucester for 5 years. He led the club through COVID-19, and he turned around their financial performance, which was really bad by all accounts, from significant losses to profitability. Now Bradley is replacing Nick Garcia, who quit the Ospreys back in December 2022. On the face of it, James, this is a very good appointment, isn't it? Because Lance Bradley has got quite an impressive CV.
Yeah. Sorry, this is completely related, but Alex Bywater tweeted saying that this is a very good appointment. And everyone's favourite journalist, Stephen Jones, replied to him saying, Major Crawlin.
Fucking Jones.
Yeah.
Stupid old dinosaur.
I am really happy with this. It came out of the blue. There was no rumblings whatsoever that we were even looking for a new CEO. We sort of assumed that this was maybe doing in the off season, but it comes at a really good time. And actually, if you take a look, some people have taken a look at what have the owners done over an extended period of time? They've kept us going. We're still here, which is something that for years Ospreys fans have even debated will happen. We've had the big links now with the Cheetahs. We've got active talks about St Helens redevelopment. And now we've got a CEO with proven rugby experience and a good track record to go with it. And I don't know how many of you watched his first interview. He alludes to two things. He alludes to creating an Ospreys women's team, or having some form of an Ospreys women's team, and that St Helens is actively happening. Which, if you're an Ospreys fan, you sort of have to be excited about. And Lance, I followed Lance on social media for a few years. He's, by all accounts, a lovely guy who really gets involved in the likes of Dodiade and things like that. So it is just a really good appointment and a good feel-good moment in Welsh rugby, I think.
I think it's a very different situation coming into the Ospreys as it was going into Gloucester. Gloucester had a regular, committed fan base, and that's the one bit that Ospreys just don't seem able to develop is a committed fan base. Shouting at people on social media isn't a committed fan base. Turning up every week and paying your cash and paying the cash would be a good thing for most Osprey supporters that actually do turn up. But that's his biggest challenge, is how do you actually get, let's say they redevelop St Helens, which by all accounts will be Parker Scarlets plus one extra seat. Yeah, that's what they reckon.
What's Parker Scarlets
There's 14,000, just under 14,100, I think it is.
There's
2,000 extra seats that can go in for European fixtures.
So the plans that I've seen floating around are less than that. They are maximum 10,000 is what I've been told.
Which just smacks of a lack of ambition for the second biggest city in Wales.
But
Also,
would you say the same?
But that's
Would you say the
realistic
same about
position.
Edinburgh though? Edinburgh have the exact same stadium, and they're the biggest city in. Well, say second
And
biggest city in Scotland.
What's Scots too, and what's Galway as well? They're small stadiums.
Yeah.
It's better to have a smaller stadium fill it than a massive stadium like the Ospreys have got, and it looks empty. They've got to get out the Swansea.com, the Ospreys.
Yeah,
They've got
definitely.
to get out today.
Well, what I'm saying
it
is
don't help
his biggest challenge is getting anybody into an Ospreys game and paying, because half the people that go to an Ospreys game at the minute, all 250 of them, half of them don't even pay for their ticket as it is. They're all freebies. So that's his biggest challenge.
Our issue.
I think we all do that, don't we? All our clubs do that. I'm pretty sure all our regions give away free tickets.
They all do, not to the level of the Ospreys.
So the Ospreys doing more today than they ever.
Yeah,
I'd say the Osprey. I'd say we all give away about the same amount. It's just, if you give away 1,000 tickets at Park of Scarlets and you've got 8,000 people there, well, there's 7,000 paying. If you give away 1,000 tickets at the Ospreys and your biggest crowd is 3,000, do you know what I mean? That's what I mean by the Ospreys give it as a percentage.
The issue is we're not getting the revenue from the other parts of a matchday experience. So we're not making what we should on ticket sales. We're not making it on food, drink, beverage, whatever, all that shit. But anyway, you're getting into negative shit now. Typical Scarlets fan. It's good. It's good.
I was simply saying what his biggest challenge is going to be, mate. You're the
his
one.
His biggest challenge is dealing with you fuckers.
I think the on-field can deal with them quite easily enough.
Yeah, that's not hard. A small breeze.
Let's move on, shall we, James? Let's. What else have you got in the news desk? Is there anything left on the news desk, mate?
Yes, it's just one more item I want to cover. This shit news, unfortunately. Ashton Hewitt, he's ruptured his right knee ligaments. He did it in training in Astramunic the other week. So, really bad news for the Dragons. He had a successful operation, I believe, last Wednesday, and he's not going to be back now until the end of the year. And it was only 3 or 4 years ago, I think, he ruptured ligaments in his left knee against Northampton in the Challenge Cup. So it's really shit news for Ashton. I got it for him, and I wish him a speedy recovery. But that's it. That's all the news done for this week.
And what I will say on Ashton Hewitt is the amount of shit that he's had on social media, like completely unrelated.
Oh, I know.
Stuff. It's
racist nonsense.
Fucking
it's
ridiculous. Awful.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let's. So it would take us. We're nearly an hour in already, boys. So we're 50 minutes in. So let's try and keep this bit sharp. So let's just go around and do what we felt of our games over Christmas. So not talking about the opposition, just talking about ourselves, where we felt it went right. What were the positives? We'll try and start the new year with some positives about what's going well and things like that. So Jamie, you can kick off. What went well for the Dragons in your 2 fixtures? I know it's a hard one with the Cardiff, but what went well in your 2 fixtures over Christmas?
Well, we got a win, at least, out of the 2. So that's a positive, I guess. But starting with Cardiff, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It was an absolute disaster. It was a pathetic, embarrassing performance. For Cardiff to get a bonus point after 17 minutes on the clock, that's just not good enough. I actually thought when the teams came out, I looked at the 2 teams, I thought to myself, they look pretty even. I did not see that first half performance coming. I don't think anybody did. I wasn't planning on watching the full game. I was actually at the football. I had my phone in my coat pocket. And I didn't check the score until half time. And then I open my phone, I see all these messages from people. Have you seen this? What the fuck? Dragons are shit. What's going on? I open the URC app and then I see it's 45-7. And I just laugh. I laughed at the absurdity of it. And I got told all about it. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to watch this game in full. But of course I had to, and I did. And Yeah, I let's be honest, we've all seen the criticism the Dragons have got and the fallout afterwards. It was well deserved. You know, you had James Hook saying that they looked like the Dragons didn't want to be there. I would agree with that. You had Jiffy saying that too many players ain't good enough to be pro. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Although I would say that I think all 4 regions are carrying players. You know, a core of players that probably aren't good enough at this level. But that first half performance was completely unacceptable. And yeah, it was better in the second half. But let's be honest, Cardiff took their foot off the gas, didn't they? That's the only reason why it was better. It was an absolute disaster. The only thing, the positive thing from it, is that it looks like those changes that we were going to make anyway going to be fast tracked. Apparently, Dave Flanagan had a meeting with the owners after the game, and they've talked about making changes now because that performance was completely unacceptable. Just not good enough, I'm afraid. I mean, 30 missed tackles says it all. It was the worst 40 minutes I've ever seen from a professional team, let alone the Dragons. They just looked like they didn't want to be there. They didn't front up. Defence was pathetic. You know, credit to Cardiff. It would be churlish not to give Cardiff any credit. You know, they played with an intensity and a pace that the Dragons simply couldn't handle or didn't want to handle. But yeah, very disappointing. And then on to the Scarlets game. And Dave Flanagan makes those 8 changes. And he drops Bradley Robson, Tane Basham, which he was right to do. Because I saw some fans complaining about that, saying, why were they singled out? Because they were shit. That's why. Tane Basham had the worst game I've ever seen him play for the Dragons, and Bradley Roberts just wasn't very good. That's why they were
Tane
dropped.
never plays well against Cardiff, though.
No, but he did deserve to be dropped.
Yeah,
he did deserve to be
he
dropped.
always has wasn't good against Cardiff, though.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You know, it's like Jack Walsh always has a stinker for the Ospreys against the Dragons for some reason. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. But that performance wasn't good enough. There was a lot of individuals who let themselves down, but I agreed with the changes that were made. That Scarlets game, let's be honest, there was 2 teams really low on confidence. It wasn't a good game. I can tell you now, having been there myself, the conditions were absolutely horrendous. Yes, they were nowhere near as horrendous as Bridgend, as I'm sure we'll come on to later, but it didn't help the game. It would have been a much better game if we'd had dry weather. But I was pleased with the response of the Dragons. I thought we fronted up. Obviously, you know, there had been words in the week about that performance in Cardiff simply wasn't good enough. And, you know, seeing 19-year-old Harry Ackerman make his first start up against Welsh international Charlie Williams, who I felt played really well, in all fairness. And it's probably going to be a blueprint now for the Dragons going forward. Maybe we are going to see the likes of Harry Ackerman and the likes of Rosser and Ivan Owen, and where we going forward, that has to be the blueprint for the future. I just want to mention Sam Costello quickly as well, because he got a lot of shit in this game, and he did miss 2 kicks. I mean, one of them was a tricky conversion, to be fair. You can't blame him for that, because like I said, the conditions were awful, and it was a swerve to win. But that penalty right in front of the post, I mean, that is unforgivable, but those things do happen. And I've actually asked Andrew Ford, who Hardy has had on this podcast, to make up a compilation video of players missing in front of the post. You'd be surprised. I bet there's some really good players who have missed those kind of kicks in front of the post. It does happen. But I actually thought Costello had a good game. If you put that aside, those kicks that he missed, he actually had a really good game. And he had a hand in both for Scarlett's tries. So I just wanted to give him a mention. I know Dave Flanagan gave him a shout out after the game as well, which I thought was really classy of him to do, because you know, he was getting a lot of shit online. I didn't think it was valid, but don't get me wrong, I'm glad he missed those kicks, fine. But yeah, I just thought he was getting a bit of unnecessary shit. But no, a mixed bag, to say the least. Like I said, that Cardiff game is just completely unacceptable by any standards. And look, does that win against the Scarlets make up for happening against Cardiff? No, absolutely not. But it's a start. And hopefully lessons will be learned and we can make some changes now, because that performance at the Arms Park can never happen again. It can't happen again. It was just, it was absolutely awful and unacceptable. So, yeah, a mixed bag, I think, to say the least, for the Dragons over the festive period.
When you talk about changes, James, so just quickly, are you talking about, when Dan Flanagan talks about making changes, is it on the pitch or off the pitch?
So I have been told
focus more.
Yeah. So I have been told there's going to be a change in the coaching setup, 1 or 2 changes, and I think that's right, because let's not forget that these were Dean Ryan's, coaching team when he took over. I personally think Dave Flanagan should have made those changes a lot sooner, but he stuck with what he knows. and I think that's costing. We don't have a defence coach, which really showed in our Cardiff game. But then you look at the Scarlets game, and I thought our defence was really, really good. But it needs to be that all the time. And we got Sam Hobbs helping up for the academy, but you cannot have, you can't not have a defence coach, can you? You just can't. It's so amateur. You've got to have a defence coach. But I do understand that changes will be made to the coaching front. I've been told they're looking at some players in South Africa, particularly Currie Cup players. So they're going to follow Cardiff's league, what if they were to be here, and obviously what the Ospreys have done, the Cheetahs and stuff, and Scarlets have signed a Currie Cup player. So I think maybe that's the way they're going to look at it. I've been told some big names are going to leave as well. So we wait and see who that is. Welsh internationals. So there are going to be changes, and I think there needs to be changes. And I think the only hope is that Cardiff game will instigate those changes. Maybe that could be a watershed moment for the Dragons. Because that might be the moment where everyone just sits down, pauses, reflects, and goes, okay, we need to reset now, because we cannot have these types of performances. And I'm afraid to say we've seen it far too many times for the Dragons. We've had these performances where they just haven't turned up, they've rolled over, got their bellies tickled, and just conceded a load of points. And it's not good enough anymore. It's just not good enough. This is professional rugby. You are paid to do a job. You've got to front up now and do your job. And yeah, Jiffy is right. There are some players in our squad who are not up to pro standard. But like I said, I think we can say that for the regions. And I think now we have got to bring through some youth. That's the way forward now. And even if it means losing every game, we got to see the likes of Joe Westwood, Harry Ackerman, and etc. We've got to start giving these boys, Luke Yendall, Brody Cochran, a chance now. Because I'd rather see kids be given a go and give a good crack at it than, seasoned pros, shall we say, who aren't up to it anymore. So, yeah, hopefully some big changes are going to happen, because it needs to be. This can't continue like this. It can't.
So that was Jamie, short and quick and concise.
Well, you asked the question, mate. I was happy to move on. You was the one who asked me about the changes.
Right, I'm going to dread this next bit then. James, give me your short and concise review of the Ospreys. But let me just be clear on this now, James, on how the Ospreys played, okay, over Christmas. Off you go. Knock your socks off.
Slow starters. Obviously, right, let's get the basics out of the way. 2 from 2 over Christmas. You can't ask for anything more. That is what we wanted, and we hit a purple patch at Christmas last year as well. 2 from 2 this year. I can't be more happy. The first half of that Scarlets game was turgid. We should have been, 11 points, whatever it fucking was, 12 points down. But we weren't, and look, we came out, gave that intercept straight away, but reacted really well. We sort of, our defence looked good. James Fender really starting to look like the real deal now. Really growing into that role. A lot of excitement around Welsh second rows at the minute. And the fact that there's 2 more Fenders on the way is brilliant. One of them's in the Ospreys Academy at the minute, the other one's still at South Gower. So yeah, brilliant. Bring them on. Really happy to get that win. It sums it up with Jack Walsh going over in the last minute, capitalising on loose play. And just seeing that the scenes after the game, the culture, the love that squad has for each other is brilliant. And I haven't, never been so happy to see a win break that curse of the Parker Scarlets. First time in however many years, and first time doing the double in however many years. Moving on to Cardiff. Again, slow start. We get that. We go out early, get the try. It was a really nice handling. How that hit on Jack Walsh wasn't looked at, I have no idea. Poor sod. Co Tompkinson killed him last year? But no, it was really nice hands by Coughlin and George North. But Giles in Cardiff, I thought really played well. Kicked really good off 9 and 10. It was a bit of a battle at the scrum. I won't say they had any sort of dominance. They had parity. Azarati and Domachowski, who look are fine players. And then look, it's really difficult to say we reverted to type in the second half, but we did. We just turned the screw. You know, our top scorer, penalty try scored, and then the two standout tries, the Morgan Morse try, hello, really, really. And look, Jamie, if Jamie could marry that try, he would. He's watched it so many times. I know this for a fact.
It's great. I love it. It is a brilliant try.
Yeah, but he had a really good all-round game, and then to top it off, to do that game, that try in them conditions, that turn of, it's not even a turn like a sidestep, it's a change of direction at speed. It's completely different to a sidestep. It is that just be able to shift your whole body weight at the same speed. And then Dan Edwards for that Kieran Giles try, knowing the conditions that the ball isn't going to bounce. So he could put that kick in knowing that Grady, I think it was Grady, is in the scrum. And he's not, you know, as Grady is good at a lot of things, but I can't imagine getting that turn in from a scrum and covering a kick is going to be on that.
The weird thing with that one is they had Grady packed down on the open side, not the blind side.
Yeah, this is
so
what
he
I mean.
had to actually go the wrong way around the scrum to get back into position as well. So I mean,
and then
go into that when talking about
Giles was like a prime Paul Scholes with a touch, and he dots down for the try. So on a base stat, I couldn't be happier. Really, really good. Really happy for the squad. Lots of room for improvement. We'll talk about the pitch later.
Okay. Harley, talk about Cardiff, my friend.
So we had a good game and a half over those two games. So second half in the Ospreys game, as soon as the subs came on, we lost all power in the scrum. We effectively had two back rowers in the second row, and we just started going backwards. And against the part of the reason we went for the 6-2 split was to try and keep this power, but we don't have the depth in second row to keep up with that, and then especially when you've got weaker scrimmaging props. But the one thing I would appreciate is we've been incredibly clinical when we've had chances. I think the problem was in this Ospreys game was our set piece malfunctioned, and then we just didn't have the ball for most of the second half. The Dragons game was just unbelievable rugby. I wish we'd saved that for like a team that doesn't shit the bed whenever they play us. Because I feel like we could have done with that performance against someone like Leinster or Connacht, but it was just nice to see really good rugby. I didn't watch the game live. I had to watch it back because I was playing rugby, and one of the fullback for the team I was playing at, he's a Turk, so he was there checking up the Derby Day scores because he wanted to have a look, and he just went, "Fuck, you're 45-0 up. It's only half time." Fucking way. Like, genuinely just thought something had gone wrong on like the BBC app, but no, I mean, then watch it back, and that was some of the best rugby. It was nice to see what Cardiff can do when everything works. And I thought, for considering how shit the conditions were, how shit the pitch was, it was great for the Ospreys game that 4 of the 6 tries scored were scored by wingers, and the penalty try was the only real like set piece, more to type Ospreys try that was scored. I mean, the Morgan Morse one off the goal line dropout should not have happened at all. It shouldn't have happened, and it's not the pitch, it's nothing. It was just Morgan Morse doing wonderful things, and I love it. There were 2 missed tackles before that beautiful step that really the players should have got, but you've got to appreciate how beautiful that was to watch. I would say yes. I think Cardiff's probably an overall positive. We got 6 points out of 10. And we carried on in the league so far this season. We've taken a point from every game.
Okay, so before I do my bit, and as we're talking about Harley, so those of you watching us on YouTube will have just seen us all do this, and this is why, Harley. So you can't really see that. So
it has been confirmed now for the audio listeners. The move to Gloucester, Thomas Williams has been confirmed. That means nothing on audio, Lee.
No, I know that. I know that. I'm just doing something for YouTube.
He did say for
Harley
YouTube. He did say for YouTube. To be fair.
To get Harley's reaction to Thomas Williams being confirmed while we've been on air.
Not Welsh rugby related, but I've just seen how Joey Carberry's leaving Munster, which is quite interesting. I know that's
he's going to the Dragons, but calling it your first.
Yep.
I mean, ex-Munster 10s are their wheelhouse, to be fair.
Yeah. I wonder where he'll end up, though. I like Carberry. He's been ravished by injury. He's a really good talent, but he hasn't quite...
Another reason he should be at the Dragons.
We'll have him.
Gloucester are losing Hastings. So, just saying.
Isn't he linked? Isn't Sheedy linked with Gloucester, though?
Well, yeah, Sheedy's always been linked with Gloucester.
He's linked with everyone now, isn't he, Sheedy?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Anyway,
what was your festive period like for the Scarlets?
Yeah. So, when you look at it on paper, it looks pretty shit. But that first game against the Ospreys, we completely destroyed the Osprey scrum. We found the reverse gear for the Osprey scrum and took them apart quite comfortably on that, which was quite nice to see. And that's not something that we've seen all season. We've been saying we brought in this big fucking coach as forwards coach, and we've done fuck all with it. So the scrum worked, the line out worked. We fucked up 4 tries in the first half. We fucked up 2 tries in the second half. That's 6 tries that just went begging. We were still in that game with, 5 minutes to go. We were 7 points behind with 5 minutes to go. If that last pass goes to hand, it's a 3-1 overlap from our own 22. So, and it didn't. It went to ground and it got ran in for a try, and that's where the 14 points came from. So, it's easy to have a go at all sorts of people at the minute, but the difference in that Ospreys game was that it felt like we were creating stuff. The ability to create stuff was there. Our defence around driving moors is still poor, and that's where most of Osprey's points came from. So, if we shore that up and we work out how to actually pass and catch a fucking ball when we're running forward, everything starts to work. But I think it's just a lack of confidence at the minute. There's just a massive lack of confidence, which, some of it comes from what we were speaking about before, where there isn't really anybody out there on social media or within the general media that will openly bang a drum for Scarlets. You've got all your pundits and all that kind of stuff are Ospreys and Cardiff related, and there's very, very few from Dragons and Scarlets. So it's very hard for the Scarlets to control that message and saying, actually, this is what we're trying to do. Scarlets not helping themselves by trying to shut down anybody that does talk about Scarlets, which will be a whole section on the Scarlets podcast this week. But so they're not doing themselves any favors off the field. They're not doing themselves a massive amount of good on the field. But that Osprey game was about as good as it's been through the season so far. And then the Dragons game, you could just tell Dragons were coming out to give it shit, and there'd been a fair few hairdryer talks, if you like, or whatever, with the Dragons, and we kind of sat there and gone, actually, we probably should have won that game. We were giving ourselves a big pat on the back, and nobody was really firing them up. A bit like Ken Owens, when Ken Owens was on top dog, he wasn't happy unless there was a bonus point wrapped up by half time. And then it was right, okay, let's make that 30 minutes. Let's, how do we constantly move forward? And if anybody was, in possession of the ball for more than 5 minutes. Like, what the fuck are they playing at? Why have they still got the ball and we haven't? Do you know what I mean? And we're missing that kind of dog at the minute. So yeah, the Dragons came out and just showed that that's what they had, and they just wanted that game so much more than we did. And fair play to. I got no issues at all with the way the Dragons played. It wasn't dirty, it wasn't nasty, there wasn't any of the stuff that's been there in the past. It was just you guys wanted it more, and our boys didn't. And it's that inconsistency which is hard to take at the minute, because if we'd have played those two games the other way around and got pasted by the Ospreys, but shown that performance against the Dragons, the chances are we would have, come out of that with at least one win. So it's having that consistency that is kind of pissing me off at the minute, that it just needs to be there or thereabouts. I think we know Scarlets are due for a massive cull of senior players at the end of this season. The differences with the Scarlets is we've spent the last 3 seasons pissing off people in the academy, and we've lost a lot of really, really good academy players over the last couple of years, and not really done much with the academy, and that is changing at the minute. The guy from Loughborough coming in, that is changing, but it's a mentality thing now with the Scarlets. It's a mindset thing for the guys that are there at the minute, and it's a mentality thing for the boys coming through, that we just got to be a bit better. So I'm not as disappointed as everybody else on social media. It's very easy to shout and scream and all that kind of stuff when your boys are down, but it's a lot easier, a lot harder to find the positives and how you go forward and actually do what a supporter does. So that's where I am on that. Go on, Harley. What were you going to say, man?
Just one thing I wanted to just tag on whilst we're talking Scarlets about the Sam Costello thing. All right, yes, he missed a couple of kicks, but what you've got to appreciate is the Scarlets one try in that game came as a result from Sam Costello bringing a decent kicking game, and he won that kicking battle against Kai Evans, and he set up the kick for the try. And Scarlets looked so much better with him at 10 and Yohan being pushed back to 15. I think it did. I mean, I'm sure Hugh's going to bang on about it when you do Scarlets pod later, that it almost indicates what he's been saying, that Yohan Lloyd is a 15 who sort of covers 10, but is not a 10.
He was good.
Yeah,
I think.
But we've had 3 outside halves crocked for the first part of the season. So, there wasn't really we either took a guy straight out of university and went, okay, go slot into that side there and put him there for every game, or we take a guy who kind of should know how to play there. But there we go.
No, it was more
that game turned. So I was going to say that game turned on 57 minutes. And I don't want to sing. I know I'm going to single him out. I'm not trying to, but when changes were made in the front row and Leon Brown came on, that really did hurt us, because we conceded 8 penalties. 4 of them were from Leon Brown scrummaging, and he had a horrendous time in the scrum. And I know we've given a lot of stick to win on this podcast with John, but honestly, he had him on toast. Before that, our scrum was well on top. Martinez was really strong. Lloyd Fairbrother was owning Kempsey Mathias in the scrum. But when we made those changes, that really did set us back, and we were losing field position, and we were pinned back at our 22. And the last 25 minutes, actually, the Scarlets were the better team. Before that, I thought the Dragons were on top. But those last 25 minutes, Scarlets should have won that game, and I'll be honest and say it. I thought we were quite lucky, but I felt that we earned that luck as well through our grit and determination. So it could have gone either way, that game.
Can I make a comment about that a second quickly? It's not about the Scarlets. It's about Craig Evans, which Lee might perk up a bit. Leon Brown was pinged 4 times, am I right, Jay?
Yes, 4 times, yeah.
In the week before, Gareth Thomas was also pinged 4 times by Craig Evans at scrum time. It's one of them to go out to bat for Leon a bit. It's really hard to change a ref's mind once you're in the framework of you're doing something wrong. And that's what happened to Gareth. That's what happened to Leon as well.
Right. I thought he was going to get a yellow, actually, because he did warn him, Craig Evans.
He probably
on the 4th time he warned him, and then he conceded another penalty. And I thought I said to my dad, he's in trouble now. Luckily, he still stayed on the field. But I thought he was very fortunate to stay on. But that was a game that could have gone either way. That Scarlets Dragons game. But our defense was good. But I thought the last 25 minutes, Scarlets, they could have and should have won it. I mean, like I said, Costello's kick in front of the post. That's just one of those things, isn't it? You know, I'm sure all top fly halves that have done that. It did have shades of Brendan Thompson, and I shared on social media for Glasgow against the Dragons during the COVID. So he had a conversion right in front of the post to win it, and he hit the post. And it does happen. It was one of those things. We were fortunate, but at the same time, I don't know if two things can be true. Yes, we were lucky, but yes, we deserve to win. If that makes sense.
You make your own luck, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've said it about Wales and Cardiff many times over the years. So we're going to move on. So we're going to do. These had to pop out. So we're going to move on to my stats of sort of the Christmas period. I haven't gone for an actual statistic as such, but considering it's something that's such a big talking point about Welsh rugby in general, and just wanted to do something a bit positive for the New Year. So I'm going to talk about the attendances over the Christmas period. So in total, we had 39,058 people turn up to the games according to the URC stat sites. So that's an average of just under 9,800 people per game, and that includes sellout at Cardiff Arms Park. I think Scarlets Ospreys and the Dragons Scarlets games were close to, if not sellouts, and I think the Brewery Field was pretty much to capacity as well. You guys know the capacity of your stadium's a bit better than me, but I think that's about right. So it's just nice to see that despite really shit weather, we got a lot of people turning up to these games to support Welsh rugby. And actually, if you look at some of the average stats, for the majority of us, they seem to be going up, and we're actually looking quite good so far for average attendances. The Ospreys aren't, and people have gone in for reasons why I'm not going to gloss over that, because I just want to talk good news. How good is it? Just see how much support we've had over this period, particularly with the whole cost of living crisis we've had, and people don't necessarily want to pay that much money for what they'd. Yeah, so just wondering, what are your thoughts on those numbers? Do you think they're good? Do you think they should be more like that all the time, or?
No, I think it's good. I think Cardiff in particular, again, really big attendances because, they're not winning many games, but people are really buying into the style of rugby. There's the narrative with the young, homegrown talent. People want to see that, and they want to see these kids develop, and they are playing a brand of rugby. So it's good to see the Arms Park full. And if you look at Rodney Parade, we had 7,617 people against the Scarlets. That's our biggest crowd so far. That's a very good crowd. And I will give a shout out to the Scarlets fans because they were there in their numbers and they made a lot of noise. Because I was wondering how the atmosphere was going to be on New Year's Day because of the hammering we took at Cardiff. I thought it was going to be pretty somber. Fair play, the Dragons fans were in really good voice. They really got behind the team, and the Scarlets fans were great as well. Best atmosphere so far on the parade.
It's not like they have to travel far. Pontcarra to Newport's only 25 minutes.
True. I mean, there was more Scarlets fans there than Cardiff and Ospreys who came to Rodney Parade, and I will, make that point. And they did show up in their numbers, and they did make a lot of noise. But it's great, isn't it? These derby games, this is what people want to see. They want to see the derby games. These are the games that really matter. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, the Anglo-Welsh, but it does make you realise that when you play against teams, your local rivals and teams, in games that matter, then people are going to turn up, and as simple as that, isn't it? But I think on the whole, the festive attendances were very, very positive. But the challenge is, of course, is getting those attendances every week, isn't it? We need to build on it, but we never do. What we normally see is festive derbies being well attended, and then there's a big drop off then for the rest of the year. That's not going to be the case at Cardiff for Harlequins. I appreciate that, but again, that's a game that matters. It's a competition that matters. So
a point on that. So I was just checking sort of like the average per club and said Cardiff, they're looking set to be their best season since the 2018-19 season when we, the season after we won Challenge Cup last. And, we had all this really good vibe, really all that good feeling. We were in the Challenge Champions Cup for the first time in a while, and so that's a good thing. It's looking for actually the Dragons. They look like they're on the up as well. It depends how these last 4 home games go for them. whether or not they get the buy-in. I think part of it as well as the marketing, because I think the marketing for these last few games for Cardiff have been really, really strong. And, they're really getting out there. I feel like with this whole, meaningful games, arguably, a URC game should be more meaningful than Champions Cup when Cardiff are like, well, we're not going to do anything in the Champions Cup. Right, let's focus on either staying in there or trying to actually get into the top 8. And, making a big thing like Cardiff Connacht should be something we build up, because it's always a fantastic game between the two teams, because we're pretty neck and neck. I like Scarlet's Munster should, they should be arguing, they should be billing that as the Tyburn custody battle. And there's all things. Ospreys have got, there's teams who, Ospreys, Leinster, all their beef in history. We should be really making a point of it. The old farts only remember the Anglo-Welsh are only going to want the Anglo-Welsh back. So for getting the new people interested, it's up to the marketing teams and people like us to just say, no, this is going to be an awesome game. Let's really go for this.
We've been saying that all season, Harley, on our Scarlet Spot, that the way we approach marketing in the Welsh regions is shocking, absolutely shocking. You can go to other places around the world, URC or different sports, all of that kind of stuff, and people travel hundreds of miles. Thousands of people pack stadiums. Bristol Bears sell 30,000 season tickets. Because they really go for it. And I was living in Bristol when they were the Bristol Rhinos, I think it was, or Bristol something, and they went bust, and it was a right bloody shambles, and there was crowds of like 500-600, So it can be done with the right approach, with the right kind of emphasis. It can be done. It just isn't there. The skill set, the desire isn't there at the minute, and it won't be until something changes drastically. Anyway, let's move on to a new section. That was the reintroduction of Harley's stats, because I forgot about it before Christmas, so apologies on that, Harley. So a new bit now, just because we've all kind of got a little bit. So I do drink of the week, Jamie does news desk, Harley does stats. And then James just kind of sits here and stares into space going, fuck, Rhys Henry's amazing, isn't he? So I thought we'd occupy his time for a little while. We'd give him something to think about, give him something to do. So first attempt at James's beef and banter for this week. So what's your thoughts on beef and banter, James? And off you go with it, mate.
Well, firstly, the first one comes from the New Year's Day game where the Cardiff team bus turned up. And now I was in the very fortuitous position. For those who've been to Rugby Parade before, the front part is sort of like there's a little car park, but you can drop off, okay, and you can go straight back onto the main road. Now I attend the games with my grandfather, who uses a mobility scooter, so we were lowering the scooter out from the car on the winch. And it's starting to rain and all this. And then as I am lowering his scooter and he is trying to get himself out of the car, this big Edwards Coaches turns up with, in bright orange letters on the front, Cardiff Blues. I dropped the controller for the winch, so his scooter's currently suspended in the air, so I can take a photo of said bus to immediately tweet to, and I sent it to you boys first. And if there ever was an omen for that game, Harley, it wasn't your form against the Ospreys on New Year's. It's that, and it's not even like it's a new thing. Apparently, that bus is what they always use. It just says Cardiff Blues in the front. So that went, that got viewed thousands and thousands of times on the various Twitter accounts. Obviously, the next one, the talking point is the pitch, right? Wales Online reporters got their Christmas overtime bonuses this year. Fuck me. There's two people in particular, right? Thomas George Swelling Shanklin of Cardiff fame and his little rant with his boys on Scrum 5, talking about the pitch, not about the game itself, or trying to bring a commodity of professionalism to his commentary. No, he has a full-on rant. Whether he's right or not, okay, I am not here to give my view on the pitch. It is what it is. We had to move the game. There were no other facilities available. Harley, yes, I know you're suggested swapping the game, but it was set in stone. Okay. The next bit is the lorry. Beep beep, everyone, get on board. So A.T. and Morgan are one of the principal supporters of the Ospreys, have been for many years. They often bring the lorries to the matches at the Swans.com, park them out front. And in this instance, they brought them to the west side of the brewery field. The east side of the brewery field, sorry, to advertise and to hold a stage for the pre-match performer. And the other one had a kit museum, and so all the kits inside from the various years of the Ospreys. Now, some fans decided to climb onto said lorry halfway through the game to get a better view of the game. This caught the attention of a certain well-known Twitter account in English rugby, who shall remain nameless, who tweeted some misinformation on the internet, and all hell broke loose. Apparently there was a hospitality box. It was everything. What was more concerning is in that photo there's a conservatory that are made by Dunraven, the sponsors of the brewery field. I was in that conservatory because that is where. And look, I love the Ospreys. They do really good things for wheelchair dependent and scooter users. But the wheelchair dependent and scooter users were put in that conservatory for the game. And that is where we were, and it was hilarious. They were really, they couldn't do anything about the weather. But former Scarlet and Scotland flanker and full-time hater John Barclay tweeted after the game that it's a disgrace to the URC and a disgrace to rugby, and I miss Stradey Park or whatever. And he got a bit of abuse on Twitter. My favourite
played at Stradey Park.
Whatever, he's a Turk. My favourite one though is then people going back through random Glasgow games and finding various lorries. One of which holds the screen up at Scotstoun. So look, a lot of good stuff over the Christmas period, particularly from Cardiff fans. I made the mistake, and I will never do this again, of making a harmless joke on Twitter about Cardiff fans and their crowd, as I tweeted, quote tweeted Cardiff Rugby saying, the Cardiff team will have a lot of time to admire their sellout crowd, mainly because they'll be stood under their posts a lot. And oh boy, did they not!
Bet that went down well, didn't it?
That did not go down well. Let me just tell you some of the pleasant replies. Now, in all fairness, friend of the WRRAP family, Andrew Ford, appreciated it for what it was. My personal teammate from Cardiff Saracens, my one and only game, said, this is a funny joke. Even Phil said it was a bit of humour. So, yeah. So, comes across as very bitter. At least we have our own ground. Must have been a shock for Ospreys players seeing so many fans at the brewery field. Grow up, James. Oh no, that was my mother. Your post seems to indicate that 8 might well be your age. Come back when you finally win a cup in Europe, son. Actually, come back if you ever win a knockout game, numbnuts.
Got a point there. He's got a point on that one, though, James.
We'll just polish off 4 league titles instead.
I was going to say they have won the league, to be fair, so it's not that damage.
What's ironic, his Twitter handle is nobody is perfect. No, completely not. And then finally, before I wrap up, Luke Davis. Halfway through the second half, a small scrap ensues between the two nines. Now, I'm in the conservatory at this point, so I can't actually see what happens. So I don't see this in the live game. Now, Adam Jones brings them both together, says, no, we're not having this, blah, 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 rugby values, all this jazz. And Thomas Williams got a big stern face on. And Luke Davis simply turns and says to him, Joyo! And then they both walk away. And Thomas just cracks that little wry smile and then can't control it. And it's absolutely brilliant. So a lot of beefs, a lot of banter. Hopefully we'll get a lot from Europe next week. But the Christmas derby has provided lots and lots of beefs and banter.
Cool. So I tweeted your Cardiff Blues bus thing, and that's what I was just looking for. So mine is just shy of 29,000 views. So
51,000, my son.
So I wonder how many were on Harley's account. How many views did you get for it? Did you not tweet it, Harley?
I must have forgotten to. I just
that bus has heritage, man.
It is funny, isn't it? Because that's going to boil the piss of certain people in CF10. And as soon as I saw it, I pissed myself laughing because I knew it was going to annoy all the right people.
Yeah.
The
majority
someone
of the media
accused
guys
me of
in CF10 Trust
photoshopping
found it funny.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Someone accused me of photoshopping it. That was the worst thing. He said,
"You wouldn't know how to.
You
wouldn't have a clue how to, mate."
He said that the B is the wrong size and look how pixelated it is. And someone tweeted saying, "I don't know how to tell you this. It's on the Scrum 5 show." I was pissing myself.
Right,
it was good.
We're rapidly running out of time again, gents. So let's take a quick look at what's coming ahead for this weekend. So we're back into a couple of weeks of European rugby, and then everyone has a week off, and then we go back into depleted squads for the Six Nations and all of that kind of stuff. So let's start with Cardiff and Harlequins. Harley, expectations and thoughts.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's two teams who just love to play with the ball in hand. I think the big thing that's going to decide things for Cardiff, weirdly, is Rupert De Beer, as Lee likes to call him. So he took a bit of a knock and a nasty knee twist in that Morgan Moore strike on New Year's Day. We haven't heard anything about it. Hopefully he's fit. Hopefully it was quite innocuous. If he's fit, then I think game on. Cardiff probably stay within the score. If not, I think it could be a little bit messy without his game management and kick. Actually really good kicking game. Either way, I think it's going to be fun day, and it's looking close to another sellout at Cap. So yeah, enjoy. Cool. I mean, we always said it was going to be it was always going to be the banter season in Europe for us because we weren't winning anything.
Yeah, I reckon you as much as you put yourself down, you might actually be in with a shot against Harlequins. But if the weather is as it's predicted to be, an absolute bucketing down and all that kind of stuff, I reckon you might be in with a shot on that one. Right, Jamie, your trip down south to Zebra again.
Yep. Yeah, this is really important game for the Dragons because if they win this, they're going to have 1 foot in the last 16. So you've got a situation now. So Zebra are 4th, they're on 4 points. Dragons are 3rd on 6. And then you've got the Sharks in 2nd on 7 points and the Cheetahs on top with 9. So this is a big game. Dragons need to win this one. They should be winning it. I know Zebra improved this season and they look really good. And they did have a very good win in the last round against Oyonnax. So they're going to be up for this, especially on home soil. But this is a game that we really should be winning, and we've got to go there with a positive mindset and try and get this win, which is going to take us into last 16. Now, the question is, what does Di Flanagan do now? Because he made those changes to the Scarlets. He's dropped the likes of Roberts, Basham, etc. Do you now say, okay, go again, lads, and you carry on with the likes of you and Rossa, Harry Ackerman? Or now do you say, okay, you get another shot of redemption, and you bring back the likes of Bradley Roberts, Tate Basham, and the guys who dropped. So Rio should be back. That'll be a big boost. I don't know if Steph Hughes is going to come straight back into the team, because I really like the look of Ivan Owen and Harry Ackerman in that midfield. But he is the captain, so that's a conundrum that Di Flanagan needs to solve. Also, with the hookers, James Benjamin, friend of the Dragons pod, James Benjamin was excellent against the Scarlets. He was bloody good. He put in an 80-minute shift. His arrows were excellent. His ball carrying was good. His defence was really good. I loved that crunching tackle they put on Kieran Hardy in the second half. I thought that was really good, and he did his best to rattle Hardy. So there's a dilemma hooker there. So I'm really interested to see what Flanagan does in terms of the changes and team he selects. But I just think we need to go there now, positive mindset, reset, and try and get this win that's going to put us in the last 16, because we are going to struggle in URC, we know that. But Europe can be a nice distraction from the struggles of the league. So hopefully you go there, get the job done. So they really need to go there and try and rattle Zebra and take a next step into the knockout stages, because that would give supporters a bit of a boost if we had something to look forward to, a European knockout game to look forward to this season.
Okay. So James, Ospreys at home to Perpignan, or USAP as they're listed.
Yeah, quite a difficult one to predict. I'm hoping. Well, I had a chat with the Irie boys earlier about it, and we think that they're not going to send their strongest squad over. So they've already lost to Benetton in the Challenge Cup. As well as that, I'll tell you now. Yes, they lost to Lions at home and to Benetton, so they've lost 2 already. So they're not going to be sending the likes of Pasolo Tuolagi over to face James Fender, which would have been gutting. In terms of Ospreys, Friday night, we're in a bit of an injury crisis at the minute. Whisper it slowly. I know Ospreys aren't allowed to have an injury crisis because we have the greatest squad in the world. But we've lost a lot of back row players. Press conference today, Kieran Williams is back. There's a few boys going through return to play protocols. Sounds like Morgan Morris won't be back for this one. So in terms of, we need to win this to progress, but also to continue momentum, absolutely. It would be nice to see Kieran back. We won't see Justin Tipuric back until after Europe, we're told. Same with Alex Cuthbert. But then it seems to be all our injuries are coming back at once. Don Morris, Toby Fricker, both should be back by then. Morgan Morris was named and been back by then as well. So, look, we know long term we're not seeing Jack Morgan. Bad news for Wales. That came out over Christmas as well. We didn't mention. I'm not confident, but I'm happy it's at home. Could have not done with the Lions away the week after, mind. That's not fun.
Okay. So Scarlets take a trip out to Claremont. I mean, something needs.
That's going to go well, isn't it?
Well, Claremont aren't having a great season. They're ninth, they're kind of mid-table. They're not really setting the world alight. No. But then they drew last weekend, and they beat Gloucester. No, they lost to Gloucester, and they beat Edinburgh. So it's a bit of an up and down season. But they're at home. They're a French side at home. So it's one of those nightmare games. The game to go and play if you want to start building confidence is not a French top 14 side at home. So it'll be, there's all sorts of rumours and this, that and the other coming out of the Scarlets about who's staying, who's going, who's happy, who's not. And I think Dwayne Peel now just needs to throw everything at the door and go, right, okay, this is the way we're doing it. We're doing it my way. And I've had enough of, we used to do this or we used to do that. And some big players are going to have their noses put out of joint and all of that kind of stuff. And you've got to start rebuilding again, because if the rumours about, his contract being extended, if that's true, then he needs to put his foot down. He needs to put his foot down and say, this is the way it's going to be. So he may as well start doing it now. Don't wait for the off season. Don't start for it's got to be done now. I still can't see us coming away from Claremont with anything, but it would be nice to just see us play with a little bit of the style that we played against the Ospreys, and if we can do that and we can show that actually we're creating opportunities again. When Pivac joined, he said, keep creating the opportunities, because at some point those opportunities become tries and the tries become victories. So keep creating the opportunities. If we do that again, I'll be happy. I'll be honest, I'm not even going to watch the game. I won't be able to watch the game. So it's one of those.
Is it on TV? Out of curiosity. So is it live to watch on TV? Because I know the Dragons one. They said that's on the EPCR TV. So
no, it's the Ospreys are on SOC this weekend.
Yeah.
So Scarlett is not on telly.
No, I imagine Claremont might be on Viaplay.
Possibly, yeah. Right. But
okay,
I cancel my Viaplay start the season anyway. So anyway, yeah, it'll be whatever it'll be. I just hope we start playing with a bit more kind of consistency. So, right, let's rapidly run down these then. So I'm going to come to you and I'm going to write, Harley, your score predictions for Cardiff, Dragons, Ospreys, Scarlets, and just go right, bang, 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 bang. Yeah, bang, bang, like that. Bang, 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 bang. Really, really quick. Do we get that?
Right, so I'll go Quins by 6, Dragons by 8, Ospreys by 14, and Claremont by 27.
Oof. No, I tell you, no, when we say bang, 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 that's the way to do it. Holy cow, Harley, that was excellent. Jamie, so Cardiff Harlequins.
Yeah, two very unserious teams. So I think this could be a tri-fest. I think it's going to go the same as Bath. I think they're just going to keep scoring until whoever scores the most points. I'm going to go Harlequins by 4. I think it's going to be tight, but I do think they'll edge it. And then Zebra Dragons. I want to see us build on that winning as the Scarlets, but I got an awful feeling we're going to fuck it up. And we have lost to Zebra, out in Zebra on many occasions before. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to go Zebra by 5. Ospreys Perpignan, I'm going to go Ospreys by 9 points, just because.
Okay. And Claremont Scarlets, dare I ask?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Scarlets.
Fucking hell, Jake.
Fuck, that's
sorry.
bad.
I was just looking at the game to actually matterly. I do apologise. Let's have a look at this pool. So Scarlets haven't got any points. I'm looking at pool 3. They're on 0 points. Claremont are on 5. But they're in 4th. So Scarlets need to win or they're out of this competition, and they.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely need to win this. I'm going to go
Claremont Scarlets need to win.
I could have, yeah, I suppose. But I can't say much support the Dragons right now. I'm going to go Claremont by 23. 23 points by Claremont.
Cool. Okay. So you see what I did there with Harley, James? Yeah, where I went bang, 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 bang. And then Jamie went, yeah, that's really good. And then rattled off for 5 minutes, yeah? Do the Harley bit for me, mate. Do the Harley. So Cardiff against Harley.
Quins by 15. I don't think it's going to be close. I'm sorry. What's the next one? Zebra by 9. They didn't actually play that bad in the Benetton games on Christmas. Ospreys by 6. And then Claremont by 23. I'll go same with Jamie. You could pick any number 20 plus, and I don't think it would matter. Okay. Steph Evans to get yellow card. I'm going to put that in my accumulator.
Steph Evans won't be in the side, mate, if he kicks the way he did against bloody Dragons. Should we run a 3-on-1 from the halfway line in, or should we kick it to the fullback? Let's have a.
Should we talk? What about Tom Rogers? He does 2-on-1s really well.
You need to listen to my pod, and we'll tell you all about our.
No, I can't wait. I might sit in the Zoom call.
Why is he wearing a scrum cap now anyway, Tom Rogers? Out of curiosity. I noticed that on Ronnie Parade.
Yeah, I reckon he's had his hair bleached. I reckon he's had a fine and he's had his hair bleached and he doesn't want to show it. Okay. Why else would a winger wear a scrum cap? You know?
Yeah.
And,
He doesn't normally, does he? Just so get noticed.
No, it's only been the
He's
last
got-
couple of
Yeah.
games. So
He's got a
he
Corey Allen. He just doesn't want to show it. Big
might
egg in the
have a-
nest.
He might have a, I don't know, a cut on the head, but I don't think they help with preventing concussion or recovering.
They don't.
From
It's
concussion.
proven they
So,
don't. No.
Yeah, it is
They don't.
purely for.
Some players don't suit a scrum cap, do they?
I couldn't
No.
stand them when I was playing. Couldn't stand. My ears are too big.
I've
more
started-
prevent cauliflower ears and prevent cuts staying open. Basically, if you imagine a Kinder Egg now, it's got that foil wrapper. If you imagine that foil wrapper is your scrum cap and you shake it, the little yellow thing inside is still rattling around. That's your brain in your skull. Unless you can somehow insert it up through your nostril and under your skull, a scrum cap's going to do shit for concussion, because concussion is your brain smacking into the back of your skull. It's not actually this sort of impact. Stuff like that actually probably won't get concussed. It's more to prevent cauliflower ear and basically to stop the cuts, which then keep opening up and then the scar tissue, and then that's why they all puff up. Which is why, unless you're spending half your time with your head at either up a prop's arse or in a ruck, you don't need one.
No, I've never understood backs wearing. I understand it, kids. I understand why kids wear them to build a bit of confidence, and then as they get older, they grow out of them, and then they don't put them back on. They don't replace them.
It's
and
more
that. So I get
psychological than
that.
anything.
Yeah, I don't understand why a fanny on the wing would want to wear one. Anyway, so for me, Cardiff Harlequins, I think Harlequins by 10. Zebra Dragons by 5. Ospreys Perpignan by 1. And Claremont Scarlets by 1.
Fuck, I've not missed this.
That's working out so well for you, Lee's now. Predicting Scarlets by 1.
Scarlets
It's
by
going
1.
so well for you.
Well,
by 30, in other words.
For the Dragons game, I actually predicted Dragons by 1 point, and I got it bang on. So, you know. If
you did. Fair play.
I think it's only the second accurate bang-on prediction of the season.
Yeah, that's how
With
good
Carwyn
we are
having
at
the other
predicting, boys.
No, didn't
Right.
I had a perfect one, didn't I?
No, that week it was that was Carwyn's last week. It was before you.
No,
joined.
I'm pretty sure I've had a perfect.
Yeah, I think you have.
prediction.
I think we've all had 1 week where we got one score bang on, and then we've been crap for everything.
Oh, sorry, I've
fingers
just
in the
changed
air,
my
boys.
prediction for Cardiff Quins because it's Frank Murphy reffing. Both teams to lose.
Yeah. Somehow Gloucester have won.
Right. On that note, gents, we shall call it a night before we say something that James regrets and has to apologise publicly for on Twitter. So we will call that one a day there, and we shall watch what we can this weekend. Enjoy your rugby, gents. I shall catch up with you next week. All the very best. Good night.
Ta-ra.
Good night.